Have you brushed your teeth today? What about your hair? Ah, good girl. Then Granny would hug and kiss her. But the best part of Shudu's day was when she visited her great-grandmother, Gogo Gugu. She was the wise old woman of the village and was known as Mongwanzeru. Her hands were as wrinkled as crinkled paper. Her hands were so brown as the village earth and so lined that even the folds had folds. She'd lived long, seen many things, and had lots of stories to tell. I don't know if you can see. Oh, when I move it that way, there we go. Can you guys see? Today, said Gugu, while I grind the nuts for my special pumpkin leaf dish, I will tell you old Venda stories about our ancestors from long, long ago. Shudu clapped her hands. She loved hearing Gugu's stories. After story time, Shudu stood up. Look, Gugu. What are you doing? I'm pretending. Pretending to be what? A beautiful princess like the one in your story. I'm trying to see. There we go. I see, Gugu smiled. My darling child, you are already perfect. You just have to be yourself. She pulled Shudu closer. Just remember one thing, my child. You are beautiful inside and out, as she tapped Shudu's heart. Then you'll always be beautiful on the outside. Then one day, Auntie Cecilia rushed into the house. Your mother has sent for you. Your mother has sent for you. She said it's time for you to live with her in Mpumalanga. You'll go to school there and you'll make many new friends. Shudu could not wait to be back with her mother. But after a few weeks, the happy little girl became sad and silent. She felt like her heart would break. It was a big town, and she did not know anyone. Nobody stopped to ask her how Granny was, or whether Auntie Cecilia's lost goat had been found. But worst of all, no one spoke to Venda. Go back to that nowhere place you call Venda, they shouted. Shudu did not understand, and for the first time, she felt the world was a horrible place, and she felt sad and alone. The bullying went on for many years. After a long time of being alone, a girl called Yvette walked up to her. Shudu, I'm so sorry they're so nasty to you and bully you like that. You better not speak to me. Otherwise, those girls won't be nice to you. Do you really think I want to be friends with people like that? They're not very nice, said Yvette. From that day on, the two girls were always together. Slowly, a small part of Shudu's heart started to feel better. Yvette was unpopular with the mean girls now, but she wanted to be friends with Shudu. Then it was time to go to high school. Yvette and Shudu were both broken-hearted because they were going to different schools. Shudu was back in class with some of the children that had bullied her. The bullying had not stopped, and she did not look forward to going to school. She felt scared and alone. The pictures aren't very visible. 2 weeks later, everything changed again. Her mother rushed in looking very excited. My darling, wonderful news. I have a new job and we'll be moving to Johannesburg. Shudu hugged her mother, but her stomach twisted. Everything was going to change again. Another town meant another new school. This time, I will not make any friends. If I don't have friends, then I won't be bullied. I would rather be lonely. I'll spend every lunchtime and all my spare time in the school library. And that is exactly what she did. Even though the girls were friendly, Shudu did not make friends. At home, she helped her mother around the house. She went to school, studied, and read books. She was alone every day, and her world grew smaller and smaller. Then, It was the first day of grade 10 maths class. Shudu sat next to a girl called Lidi. This girl was so chatty that before Shudu knew it, she couldn't stop herself. She started talking to her. They sat together at every school break. Lidi told Shudu about all the things she used to do when she was younger. And I remember doing this, said Shudu. She held her arms out and her head high and walked up and down. I told my great-grandmother that I was a princess. Lidi laughed. I just know that you can be anything you want to be. You're perfect as you are. You just have to be yourself. Shudu was surprised. Nobody had ever thought of that. Nobody had ever thought that of her. Not since she was a little girl growing up in the village. She smiled with so much happiness because she was so happy that someone had seen her like that. Lidi and Shudu laughed, talked, and shared many things together. To this day, they still special friends, and Shudu sings and her heart is full of love. Time has passed, and the little girl from the small village of Habangani in Limpopo became famous. Now, Shudufhadzo Musida, Miss South Africa, is known all over our country and in many places around the world. And that is Shudu Finds Her Magic. Am I still on?
Thank you so much for that reading, Shudu. I hope you can see that the learners are quite excited. I just have a question to ask you.
Hello?
Shudu?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
What would your advice be to children who may feel isolated or targeted because of their differences?
I would tell them to continue being themselves, because I tried to be something that I'm not for so many years because of the bullying, because I wanted to isolate myself so people wouldn't bully me for my differences. But what I've learned over the years is that your differences are what make you so special and also inform your place in the world. We all have a special kind of magic in us, which is why it's called Shudufhadzo magic. But that special magic comes from our difference. We live in a world that often embraces sameness, but it's difference that actually brings us together and makes the world what it is. We must continue to learn from embrace each other's differences as an opportunity to have a lens into what the other person has to bring into the world. Because if we're all the same, then nothing would happen in the world. The innovations that we have, the presidents that we have, the inventors that we have, even the little people in the class, the children in the classroom, you're also different. And if you look around each other, you'll find that, yes, you are different, but then it's the common thing that brings us together is always kindness, a common respect for humanity. And for me, what I would tell the children is just keep being yourself. I know it's not easy, but understand that you can always talk to someone if you feel like you just want to isolate yourself to a point where you don't want to be seen like I did.
Thank you so much for that, Shudu. I think what you highlighted is that it's also very important for the kids, if they are experiencing bullying, to tell their parents or tell a teacher that they trust. And on that note, I want to ask you how you think parents and educators can better support children who are experiencing bullying or struggling with their own differences.
I think by listening, for the most part. If a child says, I'm sad today, I don't feel like myself, we have a tendency of pointing out everything that is right. I think as a society, as soon as someone comes and tells you, or a child comes and says, Mom, I'm being bullied, Mom, I feel sad, Mom, I have anxiety, or whatever, or Dad as well, or teacher, when we go to people that we trust, especially adults and older figures, they have a tendency of pointing out, including myself, we have a tendency of pointing out everything that is right. But then it does not negate that just because those things are right doesn't change the person is suffering. I believe bullying is a form of abuse, and it doesn't only happen to children, but it also happens across the board, even to adults. But to have someone that genuinely listens and makes you feel safe and validated in that experience goes the longest way, especially for children. I'm not saying it's going to stop the bullying immediately, but at least they know that they're not alone, so they don't have to personalize the the point where it alters how they see themselves, their identity. So I think learners must always trust, but it's the responsibility of parents and teachers and the adults that they trust to validate their experience, make them feel safe, and not point out everything else that is right or use it as a personal growth development thing because people tell you resilience is important, but actually addressing it. Bullying is not a reflection of the child that's being, but a reflection of the child that is being bullied. It's a reflection of the child that's bullying the other child. So it's an ecosystem where you don't only address the child that is being bullied, but the child that is doing the bullying as well, because it's a reflection of a bigger ecosystem and an imbalance there.
I definitely agree with you with that. You mentioned earlier understanding yourself so that you could better love yourself, and maybe you can share with us just some of the qualities that you think, or some of the things that young people can do to cultivate that sense of self-love and self-confidence.
I think just by speaking positivity over yourself. When I was younger and I'd get something wrong, I'd be like, I'm so stupid. But those things add up, those things really add up. So I think speaking positivity over yourself. On your bad days, just say, it's okay. A bad day doesn't mean a bad life. It's okay to not be okay, but just saying things that are positive to yourself changes everything. I mean, in the beginning, I was bullied for 7 years. And that bullying really altered who I was. I went from being an extrovert to being an introvert. Like so much about me changed that I wish didn't change. But I had to see myself in this new light and the different qualities and the special qualities that it brought. I'm an observer more than I speak. I listen more than I speak. And I found that with self-confidence and self-love, it's the things that you say to yourself because you can't expect to be validated by the next person. Not everyone is always going to tell you that you look nice today or you did something great, but you need to tell yourself that. If you think you did something great, tell yourself, just say, I did that, I did something great, because eventually it adds up to a point where it's a reflex for you, where being kind to yourself, where loving yourself, where being your own best friend actually adds up to you feeling confident and loving yourself and seeing the world differently with so much color and so much sun and finding the beauty in learning from other people as well, just because you've learned so much about yourself.
I definitely agree with you, Shudu. Maybe is there something that you say to yourself every day that you could share with these learners that are present, and for them to join you in saying that?
I am enough.
I am great.
I'm the one thing that I've always said to myself, or I say to myself now, because just yesterday I was feeling like I wasn't good enough. So I always tell myself, I am enough. I am loved. I am seen. And over and above that, I'm special. There's something about me. I don't know what it is, but I am special. So I say those things to myself to remind myself of my place in the world. But over and above that, to know that I've got so much to offer the world.
Do you guys want to join Shudu in saying, I am enough? Repeat after me. I am enough. I am special. If you want to leave them in the last one.
I am loved.
I am seen. We have one learner here who wants to ask you a question.
Yes, please.
He says he forgot the question.
No,
is there anyone in the audience who would like to ask a question? Okay, it doesn't seem that anyone in the audience wants to ask a question to Shudu, so I just want to say thank you on behalf of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation for doing this reading for us. I hope that these learners will be able to implement some of these daily reminders that you have given them. Also, just to thank Impala Crescent for hosting us here. The learners would like to say something to you before we close the session. Thank you. Let's can stand up.
Oh, thank you guys. Can they hear me?
I hope you got that, Shudu.
Were they saying thank you? I think I got it.
Yeah. Thank you so
But
much for joining us.
thank you so much, and thank you to the learners for listening and always sharing this experience with me. It's as special for me as it is for you. So thank you so much, and thank you to the foundation and the Impala. I'm getting that right. Yes, the Impala Crescent as well. So thank you so much to everyone that made this possible.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you. Bye, everyone.